Hello, colleagues. For my entrepreneur in the post war era, I have chosen the Sackler family. Brothers Milton, Alfred, and Raymond Sackler bought a small pharmaceutical company in Manhattan in 1952. All three brothers were physicians from Brooklyn, and they purchased this Frederick Purdue pharmacy, which specialized a lot in laxatives and earwax remover. It was a very small company. They were all physicians. All three brothers were physicians, and the company was always privately owned. Um, Alfred Sackler was known really specifically for being kind of the father of modern pharmaceutical marketing and advertising. Actually, after his death, he was inducted into the Medical Advertising Hall of Fame for changing the way prescription drugs have been marketed completely. And probably his most uh, um, significant contribution is that he represented the drug Valium from 1968 to the 1980s, and it just really was a blockbuster. Um, in the mid 1980s, the family changed the name to Purdue Pharma, and we may know that in 1994, Purdue Pharma released the drug OxyContin, which we also know has been very much responsible for extreme demographic shifts in our country and has almost been central to the opioid crisis. Alfred and his family were not necessarily part of this launch. It was Milton's children and Raymond's son Richard. And Milton had his third wife, and then his two elder daughters were all board members and felt very responsible for the launch of OxyContin. When OxyContin launched, there had been a blizzard previously, and Richard, when he was giving his speech launching the drug, he just said, like, prescriptions are going to fly in and they're going to be deep and so deep and thick that nobody's even going to be able to see with like through them. There's going to be a blizzard of prescriptions, like making a joke about the recent snowstorm. But this was actually true because Purdue Pharma spent so much money marketing. And some of the issue with Purdue Pharma is that they knew that OxyContin was essentially a harmful drug, but they did not ever admit to it. They just kept marketing it and saying to physicians and to other individuals who were taking it that it was safe. And they also said that they invented it. However, Kathy Sackler said that she invented it, and then she kind of had a quibble with Richard in one of the lawsuits about who actually invented it. However, it was actually invented in 1916 by a group of German scientists, and initially it was used for cancer treatments, like as a painkiller. So it wasn't really that widely prescribed. However, what the Sackler family claimed to do is to find a coating, a time release coating that would make OxyContin a slow release tablet so that you couldn't get addicted to it. However, drug users and even people in pain knew that they could just crush it and snort it and inject it and get around this time release coating, which never worked at all. The family has found itself embroiled in several lawsuits over the years. In 2007, they actually had to pay uh, I believe $600 million because they of false advertising. Um, in 2009, they settled out of court again for 2.7 million. That lawsuit was brought by family members harmed by OxyContin, and they actually paid that out. But at the same time that year, spent $121.6 million in marketing. And they were really targeting physicians that would overprescribe to their patients. And the other issue was that the Federal Drug Administration authorized them to use this for moderate and severe pain. It went from being around in the late 1990s, a drug that would only use to treat cancer patients, to a drug that could treat anyone. And so the combination of the company having a bedfellow so to speak, in the Federal Drug Administration, really helped them mass market this. And at one point in time, they believe that they've made $35 billion off Oxycontin. However, 450,000 people in the United States have died of an opioid crisis. Purdue Pharma claims that it's not only them, that fentanyl and other drugs have contributed to this, which is not untrue. However, the company has also hid their assets within the family in a kind of a convoluted network of Swiss banking and trusts. And between 2008 and 2016, $4 billion had been paid to board members and shareholders, namely Richard and Kathy and Irene and the Sackler family. So this is a bit of a tale of entrepreneurship gone wrong when you have the federal government backing your unregulated business, because a lot of times it's very hard to get around this because the pharmaceutical company has such a strong drug lobby. However, on March 3rd of this year, 2022, they were ordered to apologize and pay another settlement and dissolve their company to try to make it be a company for good.